Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation by Junior Achievement in Saskatchewan. My name is Elizabeth Strom. Junior Achievement in Saskatchewan is a not-for-profit organization. We offer innovative programs that stimulate and inspire elementary and middle and high school students to value free enterprise, understand business and economics, and develop entrepreneurial and leadership skills. Our programs focus on three key areas: financial literacy, workplace readiness, and entrepreneurship. Today, we are going to be doing the presentation, Our Country, Technology, and Innovation. In this presentation, we're going to follow the movement from traditional to modern technologies and the impact it has on business and society. We'll talk about Canadian inventors and their inventions. We'll describe changes in communication and manufacturing from technological innovations. And we're going to create future technologies to meet current needs and evaluate their usefulness. Yes, you are going to be able to create an invention. So let's get started. First of all, let's talk about traditional and modern technologies. When we talk about technologies, first of all, technologies meet a need. And needs are things that people must have or do to survive. I'm going to ask your teacher to pause this screen now and give you an opportunity to discuss what are the basic needs that we have to survive. Imagine that you're stuck in the woods and you need to survive. What would those things be? Let's see if we came to the same answers. Food, including things to drink. Yes, that would be essential for us in order to survive. Shelter. Clothing, especially in Saskatchewan during the wintertime. Tools. Communications. We need to be able to communicate in order to be saved or found. Has the word survive changed over time in terms of what we need today versus traditionally? Again, I'm going to ask your teacher to pause the screen while you discuss this item. I hope you had a great discussion there. Now let's talk about technology. Technology means a practical method or invention that is used to meet a need, as we discussed earlier. But technology doesn't just mean modern inventions, but it can also mean older inventions. Take, for instance, a spoon. A spoon is something that is an older invention, but we continue to use it. I'm going to ask your teacher to pause the screen now, and you can have a discussion about some of the older inventions that we still continue to use today. Great. I'm sure you came up with some wonderful ideas. Now let's talk about innovation. Innovation means finding new ways to do things or inventing new tools to meet needs. Let's take, for instance, the screwdriver. Can you tell me what is a new way of using a screwdriver that we also use that's more efficient? Yes, if you said a drill, you're correct. There's many new ways of finding things or new tools to meet needs. One of the key ingredients for innovation is discovering a power source or a new power source. For instance, in this case, electricity is the main difference between how these two tools operate. Now we're going to have the class play a game. You're going to play the match game with traditional technology cards in green and modern technology cards in blue. Your teacher is going to put you in groups. Each group will have a package of two different cards, the green cards and the blue cards. As a group, you're going to try to get together and match the green cards with the blue cards. Have fun, and I will see you again in a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed that game. Let's talk about, why did people develop the new technologies? Well, it made it easier for people to meet their day-to-day needs, allowed the producer to sell the technology at a profit, and resulted in increased work efficiencies. Let's talk about the telephone. The invention of the telephone was an incredible invention. Of course, this helped people meet their day-to-day needs of communication. And of course, they were able to sell the phone for a profit, and this increased work efficiencies. As an example, my father's first job was to run messages to different people at the bank because they didn't have phones that operated like today. Once the phone was developed, he no longer needed to work in that position. Let's see how we develop a new technology for the phone. Yes, the phones become very innovative. And now with cellular phones, we can do much more than just simply communicate by calling. We can text, we can purchase things, we can research. This has greatly improved our work efficiencies. What effect did inventing new technologies have on people and society? It gave people more comfort, health, and safety. It allowed them to create a higher standard of living and wealth. Take, for instance, candles. They're a great invention. They help people see. As you can see, though, in the nighttime, when people were writing, for instance, letters, candles would go very low. And this actually could create some health and safety concerns. Then we invented electricity and the light bulb. With this invention, we have now increased our health and safety, and it's allowed us to create a higher standard of living and wealth. People are able to work longer and do different things longer in the day. Imagine a roller coaster amusement park. Without electricity, it's doubtful that you would be able to have all those fun and exciting rides. This has created a higher standard of living and wealth. Let's talk about technology in Canada. Here is a list of some inventions. Each of these inventions were created by a Canadian. I'm going to ask your teacher to pause the screen now, and you're going to take a few moments to see if you can figure out what the invention is for this description. I'll be back with the answers in just a minute. All right, are you ready for the answers? Okay, the first invention is something that fastens clothes without buttons or snaps. If you guessed a zipper, you're right. That was invented by Gideon Sunback in 1913. What allows hockey goalies to play without fear of face injury? That's right, a goalie mask. That was invented by Jacques Plante in Montreal, Quebec in 1959. This invention travels in winter without roads and is also used in South America to harvest coffee. Snowmobiles. Did anyone guess snowmobiles? This invention is a famous game played around the world where players try to toss a ball into a basket. That's right, basketball. Can anybody tell me who invented basketball? If you said James Naismith, you are correct. He invented that in Almont, Ontario in 1891. This one is a very popular game played by people of all ages, in which a ball is thrown down an alley to knock over a set of pins. That's right, 5-pin bowling. I didn't know that bowling was created by Canadians. That was invented by Tommy Ryan. This next invention is a six-story screen used for movies with over 88 speakers, and the name represents I Maximum. That's correct. The IMAX theater was created by William Chester Shaw in the 1960s. This next invention helps build and pick up objects in outer space. The Canadarm robotic space arm that was invented in Toronto in 1975. This next invention is very important. It controls the beat when people have certain heart diseases. Yes, the heart pacemaker. This was invented by Dr. John A. Hopps in Toronto in 1950. And lastly, this is a technology used to talk to a person in another location. A very important technology. That's right, the telephone. And can anyone tell me who invented the telephone? Yes, Alexander Graham Bell. All right, I thought that was pretty neat to find about all these Canadian inventions. Now let's talk about modern technologies. We're going to look at this page and I'm going to put up an invention and I'm going to ask you to try and guess what that invention is. What is its name? I'm going to give you a few minutes to have that discussion. If you're not sure, you're going to be able to ask your teacher and see if she can give you the answer. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and see how this invention changed over time and how it advanced. So let's pause the screen here and give you a few moments to try and guess what the name is of this invention. Okay, are you ready to find out? Gramophone. And as you can see, the gramophone is something that plays music. Prior to the gramophone, you would have had to have a five-piece orchestra in your living room while you played past the present. Now we have a gramophone, and you can see on the side that there is a crank. So someone would have to stand by the gramophone and manually crank it in order for the music to play. Let's see how the gramophone advanced. Can anyone tell me what this invention is? All right, let's see what that one is. Yes, the record player. And it's very similar to the gramophone. What is the main difference? That's right. With the invention of electricity, we can now play the records and the music without having to stand next to it and turn the crank. But here are some disadvantages. We can't take the record player with us when we go somewhere. We need to have a power source. Let's see what the next technological advancement looks like. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of hints because this one is a little tricky. What you're looking at is the inside of a car. And that red object is the invention, and it plays music. I'll give you a few minutes to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you come up with the answer? Don't forget, you can ask your teacher. This is an 8-track player. This is a type of musical format which appeared in the 1960s. It plays 8 tracks of music, hence its name. So the nice thing about this is now we can take music outside of our homes and play it in the car. We still, of course, need a power source. Let's see how this technological advancement went next. Can anyone guess what this is? All right. If you said cassette player, you are correct. Or Walkman. Our power source is now battery. So it's not only we can play it in a car, but we can take it anywhere on our person. When I was a young adult, this is the gift that everybody wanted for Christmas. So one of the disadvantages of a cassette player is although it can play quite a few songs, it is limited and the tape does tend to wear out over time. Let's see how they advance the technology next. Can someone tell me what this invention is? If you said CD player, you'd be right. Yes, the CD player has a miniature laser beam. Again, we're still using batteries as our power source, but we get to play a lot more music. There are some disadvantages, though, to the CD player. It can get scratched over time. And so here, let's see, what is the last technological advancement that we have? All right, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to guess what this is. Yes, the MP3 player. And this is what we're using now, isn't it? MP3 player can hold many, many files of music. And this gets recharged when we plug it in, and the battery life lasts quite a long time. So let's look at the whole chain of events for technological advances. Can anyone remember what each of these technological advances are? Ask your teacher if you aren't sure. I'll let you talk about this for just a couple minutes. All right, now let's talk about future technologies. We are now going to do the technology challenge. Your teacher will have technology challenge sheets, which she will hand out to the different groups. When you get the sheet, you need to read through the challenge, and I'd like you to underline the sentence that begins with invent, because you are going to follow that instruction carefully. You're going to invent what they ask you to do, and it's going to meet a need. In your group, assign one or two people to draw the invention. Give a name to your invention. Explain how your invention works. Explain what power source you will use. How much will you sell your new invention or product for? Your teacher can ask each of the groups to come to the front and share their invention with the class. Thank you so much for having me, and I really hope you enjoyed this particular presentation from Junior Achievement in Saskatchewan.